Hey guys, Card Hacker here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we're doing a deck profile on the X-Antibody deck. So this is the new build for black that you can do with BT7 out. Let's get right into the deck profile. So let's go on with the Digimons first. So we're running 4 Dorugoramon. So this is just here because when you make your X-Antibody line, most of the time you want to use this to get some extra draws. And we're only running 4 because we're actually not running that many level 3s in this deck, so there's not a good chance that you're going to use all of your tamas. So we want to hit the tama that you want to run the most, that you want to evolve into the most. Next, for the level 6s, we are running 4 Dorugoramon. So this is the new Dorugoramon evolution that we got in BT7. So he's got 2 skills. One of them is it just gets plus 1000 power for every X-Antibody card in your source on your turn. And the second skill is when this card attacks, once per turn you can add a X-Antibody card into this card's at the bottom of this card's sources, and then for you can delete 2 of your opponent's Digimon with less entry cost than this card's. So it's a very interesting skill. I guess black is pretty well known for deleting cards with entry cost now. But yeah, potentially this could be a field wipe if you get enough cards in this card's sources. More likely than not, you're not going to see him around for that long though, especially if you attack with it. But it's a nice skill to have. Most of the time you can get rid of some level 4s and level 5s. Level 3s most probably. But not likely you're going to get rid of level 6s and 7s. But yeah, at least he does have a little bit of removal, which is definitely nice. And you don't have to worry too much about him crashing into security, because he can pump up to be pretty big. Alright, so next we're running 4 Alphamon. This is the other boss monster for the deck. It's got quite a few skills, so it's pretty interesting. So the first skill is a security effect. At the end of the battle, that you security check this card, then you can add this card to your hand. And then if there's a Royal Knight or X-Antibody type Digimon in play, you can choose up to 12 of your opponent's Digimon, and they cannot attack. You can't attack the player for the turn, or they can't attack the player for the turn. Second skill is you can pay up to 5 costs when this card attacks to get plus 1000 power for every cost you pay. And the second skill is at the end of this card's attack, you can get plus 2 memories. So it's a pretty interesting card. He doesn't really do much for removal and stuff, but he's a pretty good card to hit into security if you have X-Antibody cards, so that you can stop your opponent's turn. Because 12 is quite a big number of cards that you can select. And it's a little bit easier to use now since we can rely on X-Antibody cards instead of just Royal Knights. So overall, pretty good. The current matchup for the meta, there aren't really that many Royal Knight decks in the Japanese format, I guess. I guess there's still Jesmon and Lord Knightmon, but they're not super top tier, so kind of irrelevant. But as long as you have X-Antibody on your field, then you're good to go. Next, we're running 1 Gankumon. So this is here for removal again, and he's also here for some extra security checks. And yeah, he's just a really flexible card overall. He's not super key in this deck though. He's a flexible card that you can run. You can run a level 7 instead if you want. I think running Short might also be helpful. But for this build, I'm building Gankumon because he can also count as a Royal Knight. So there's that. It's a flexible slot. You don't have to follow this build if you don't want to run Gankumon. You can run Craniamon if you want. You can run other stuff, but I think his evil cost just to delete everything with the lowest cost is pretty nice. Especially if your opponent's playing a deck with that has Solomons or floods the field with rookies, then this card is going to be amazing. Right, for level 5s, we are running 4 Dorugoramon. So this is the new level 5 that we got in BT7. So its evolution skill is pretty interesting. So When you evolve, you can choose a X-Antibody card and add a black X-Antibody card and add it to the bottom of this card's source. And until the end of your opponent's turn, it can't be deleted by card effects or have its DP reduced. So the only way you can kill this is by attacking into it or bouncing it. So I think it's a pretty good protection, especially since for his effect to activate, you have to move into that area because you don't get your evolution effects in your raising area. So yeah, and obviously his inherit skill is also good. Just giving X-Antibody cards +1 security check is nice. For the other level 5 we're running 4 of the War Monzemon. So this is just here for you to, vanillas. Vanillas, a lot of people aren't running vanillas as much before, but I think vanillas are really good in this deck because you can just slowly build up your evolution source by your Dorugoramon skill. So if you go into this and then whenever you attack, you just add a source. You can add the inherent skills manually, so you can just put this in the bottom and it will get the security check. So you can kind of use that way to cheat your way to level 6. A lot of the other decks don't use the vanillas anymore because you don't have the inherit skill, but this card kind of offsets that by just manually putting those source cards into your Digimon. So running 4/4 is pretty good. You might want to run some more level 5s if you're worried about getting stuck, but I personally am okay. Most of the time you do want to go into the Dorugoramon instead, and the Alphamon is just here for your security checks, and it's a target for your abilities, so you can use this to put it into your source and not digivolve into it if you don't want to. Next we are going to be running 4 Dorugoramon, so this is another X-Antibody card, and obviously it's part of the Dorugoramon lineup. So it's a blocker if you have an X-Antibody trait on the field or if you have an X-Antibody Digimon in its source. So very easy to get its condition fulfilled. And this card also gets plus 1000 power for every X-Antibody card in this card's source, or if you as a source ability. So you can potentially pump your Dorugoramon so it can't be killed by your opponent. So that's pretty good. Next, we're running 4 Dark Tyranimon. So this is just your 1-cost evolution blocker. You can run the 2-cost. You can run the Gardamon if you want, but I think the 1-cost is kind of more beneficial in this deck, just so you can turbo into your boss monsters as fast as possible. And next, we are running 4 Numemon. Running vanilla. This deck is a very vanilla-heavy deck because you want to turbo into your cards as fast as possible. And again, this deck doesn't have the problem of not having Digimon with good effects because you can just shove it in there. So Numemon's good. The 3-cost vanillas for the level 4s are still pretty commonly played, so that's pretty good. Next, we're running 2 Grumblemon. So this is just for your last hits. You can run that for something else if you want. You can run option cards or anything else you think is beneficial for the deck. This is a flexible slot, but I think now that every color has access to this, I think if you have space, you should run 1 or 2 just so you can potentially get a cheap shot off. Next, for the level 3s, we are running 4 Dorumon. So this is obviously the Searcher. On place, you can look at top 3 and add a Kota and an X-Antibody card. So it's pretty good. Top 3 though, it's not top 5. And the second skill is whenever you add a Digivolution card to this Digimon, then you get +1 memory. So that's gonna be happening a lot with your Dorugoramon and your Dorugoramon. So potentially this could be a 2-cost to evolve, so that's pretty good as well. Next, we are running 4 Dorugoramon. This is just to help you give some of your Digimon reboot. So giving reboot is good so that your opponent can't kill it by attacking into it on their turn. And we're running 4 of this Salamander Sanlizamon. So this is here to help you give your Digimon piercing if they're 13k or above. It's pretty easy to obtain with most of your Digimon in this deck. So getting piercing is really good because you're going to be hitting security. And it also gives extra security check if you have 13k or above as a source. Next, we're running 3 Kotas. Sets your memory back to 3. And also helps you search for a deck, so it's pretty good. Next, we're running 2 of the Gankumon option. This deletes the highest cost Digimon on the field, all of the highest cost. So potentially pretty good. If you want to run something that might be a little bit better for saving your butt, you might run this instead. But I think this is you can run 1-1 or 2-2. This is a flexible slot. Personally, I think running this is better at wrecking opponent's board because for this deck, it's easier to get rid of low-cost Digimon than it is to get rid of high-cost Digimon. So this will definitely help you out in the long run. And we're running 2 black memory boost. This is just to help you search some cards out. You can run the new memory boost if you want. I think it's called Pride Memory Boost. So if you don't want to run this and run the Pride Memory Boost, you can, but that card is easier to whiff and it's also higher cost. So I think the black memory boost is better for this deck. So if you have a bad opening hand and you slap this down, you can potentially offset that by getting a card you can use for. And the delay ability is also pretty good. It helps you set up for turns where you potentially need extra memory to do stuff. And obviously 2 memory is good to help you set up for your Grumblemon's last hit if you need it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. It's pretty fun. It's not by any means top tier. I think there's still a lot of better stuff in current meta right now, like the hybrid decks. But this deck is fun. It's a really fun deck, and I'm really happy that Dorugoramon has support because Alphamon, one of my favorite Royal Knights, and Dorugoramon is also pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for this deck. If you guys want to support the channel, make sure to use the affiliate links down below. It's a link to TCG Player, so if you guys want to buy singles, you guys can use the link to help me out. And if you guys want to see more Digimon content, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. But this is Karataku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!